Next, I want to talk about importing users from Windows Active Directory and populating the user list. So I want to bring back the Data Store Administration tool. Here it is right here. When the data store is first created, it contains one administrator user. That's the supervisor with the password SUP, and it is lowercase on the password. Now, in your offices, if you've been using security at all, then the administrator has likely changed that password from SUP. Please do keep that in mind. Subsequent users can be imported in one of the following ways: through an Active Directory import, or using maintenance in the import option. And for legacy import from a previous version of Working Papers, we can refer to upgrading from previous versions of Working Papers in the help. In general, a firm will do an Active Directory import, legacy user list import, or an import through the maintenance option. It is not necessary to import a user list. Users may instead be added manually, and we're going to have a look at how to do that when we go to creating a new user a little bit later. To import users from the Active Directory to your data store, with the Data Store Administration tool launched, we want to click on the Active Directory option. You will be required to enter your administrator's login and password, and I'm going to use the supervisor login and password, and click OK. Now that is the Caseware Working Paper supervisor login password. And then we specify our fields. Now I want to enable Active Directory integration, and we have our various fields that are available to us. Active Directory must be connected to allow authentication. Well, if that's not checked, it will still authenticate based on your local Windows login. But if it is checked, you must be connected to the Active Directory in order to log in. So you couldn't be logging in at home through the Active Directory because you weren't connected to the office. We can also allow Active Directory authenticated users only, and the choices are up to you there if you want to select that or not. We can connect to the following Active Directory server. I'm going to go with my default, but if you have a non-default server, you can put in the host name and the port number, and even put in a filter to list only the items that you want to see. Now, when we're ready, we would then click Synchronize with Active Directory. The Active Directory integration screen that appears should display all the Active Directory users that can be integrated with the data store. We would select the checkbox in the Synchronize column for any staff that will have access to Working Papers. So I'm going to just randomly select a few people here. So I've got Alan, Adrian, and Alex all selected. Now we can select multiple people all at the same time and bring them all in at once, and I'm not going to worry about that right now. But we select the users that we wish to pull in, and then we pull them in. Now before I do that, I want to point out that there is a default offline password that can also be set. And I'm just going to throw in a simple password so that it's easy to remember for me. We also have the ability, by the way, this password is shared for all logins and enables users to access the data store even if the Active Directory authentication is unavailable. Once you've selected all the required users and filled in the default offline password, we can also specify to import the user's initials and import the user middle initial. Perhaps you have multiple users that have similar names or similar initials, and click OK to continue. Now this happens very quickly. I only selected 3 people, but it still happens very quickly even if you selected your entire staff on that list. And we click OK again. By default, Active Directory will never include disabled users in an Ldap import. That's very important. And we also do not import the user's password from Windows directory.